Aloha, this is David Buck. I'm a realtor with Christie's International Real Estate here in Aspen, Colorado, and this is going to be my first formal stats presentation on the market here in Aspen. I've been selling real estate over the past 25 years, primarily in Hawaii. However, I want to start diving into the Aspen stats to get it out there and share with you. There's a little secret, not many people are talking about in the news, but it kind of is a little bit of a buyer's market today here in Aspen, Colorado. However, what we're going to do today is cover everything in the Aspen and Glenwood MLS. That's everything kind of in the Roaring Fork Valley is what I'm going to cover. The stats go beyond that, but I'm just going to stick to the Roaring Fork Valley for these purposes. And we're going to cover everything from Aspen and Snowmass and down valley to Glenwood Springs. And we're going to start in alphabetical order and work our way down the list. And I hope you enjoy. Okay, first we're going to dive into single family homes in Aspen, and we're covering August of 2025. And there we saw sales go down 50% from a year ago. In 2024, there were six homes that sold in Aspen. In this past month, there were only three. And meanwhile, the median sales price has dropped 62.6%. A year ago, that median sales price was 16.6 million. And just this past month, it was down to $6,207,000. And that average sales price is down as well. And then meanwhile, median days on market have dropped actually 37%. A year ago, it was taking 276 days to sell. And this past month, 174. And meanwhile, months of remaining inventory are relatively flat at 17. And the reason why I say it's a buyer's market is according to the National Association of Realtors, anything more than 60 days on market is considered a buyer's market. And meanwhile, anything more than 6 months of remaining inventory is also considered a buyer's market. So considering there's 17.7 months, and it's definitely a buyer's market here in Aspen. Now, the silver lining is actually in the condo market. There we saw sales increase 10%. A year ago, there were 10 transactions, and this past month, there are 11. However, that median sales price has dropped from 4,423,000 a year ago to 3,450,000 this past month. So once again, I think there's some opportunities for buyers. Median days on market have increased from 125 days to 160 days. And meanwhile, months of remaining inventory went from 9.3 months to 9.5 months. And once again, that's going to be well north of the 6 months defined by the National Association of Realtors. So that's a recap for Aspen. Now we're going to talk about Basalt. Now, Basalt sales remained relatively flat. A year ago, there were two transactions in August, and this past month only saw two as well. So like I said, there's relatively flat across the board as far as sales goes, but that median sales price was actually up 30.2%, perhaps because people are getting priced out of Aspen. But a year ago, that median sales price was 1,353,800, and this past month is 1,762,500. And meanwhile, median days on market have dropped. It's actually becoming a little more of a seller's market in Basalt, going from 67 days a year ago to 39 this past month. And months of remaining inventory, however, have increased, going from 8.3 months to 13.9 months. That covers the single family homes in Basalt. And now we'll talk about the condos. And there we saw sales increase 100%, going from two to four transactions. And then the median sales price was down slightly, going from 1,191,875 to 1,073,125. Median days on market have increased, going from 58 to 67, and months of remaining inventory have gone from 7.3 months to 14.6. That's a 100% increase. So, there's still some opportunities, it looks like, in Basalt as well. Next up, we're going to cover Carbondale. In Carbondale, we saw single family homes dip 8.3%, going from a dozen a year ago to 11 this past month. But meanwhile, that median sales price is up 27.8%. That was going from 2,347,500 to a flat $3 million this past month. Meanwhile, median days on market went from 134 to 100, so that they actually dropped 25.4%. And then months of remaining inventory went from 6.2 a year ago to 6.8. That's a 9.7% increase. Now let's dive into the townhomes and condos in Carbondale. There we saw sales drop 50%, going from 4 deals a year ago to two this past month. Median sales price also dropped 31.9%. A year ago is at 1,191,750, and this past month it was at 811,313. Meanwhile, the median days on market were down 25.8%, going from 89 to 66 this past month, and months of remaining inventory is teetering on a buyer's market for Carbondale condos. They're at 5.9 a month ago, and this past month was at 7.1 months of supply. Next up, we've got Glenwood Springs, and there we saw sales up 77.8%. Sales a year ago there were only 9 transactions, and this past month we saw 16, and that median sales price was down 1.7%, so it was relatively flat, going from 1,025,000 a year ago to 1,007,500 this past month. And then as far as days on market go, we were at 102 days a year ago and now 78 days, so they dropped 23.5%. And months of remaining inventory is actually showing signs of a seller's market in Glenwood Springs. It's still well under 6 months, and it was a 4.1 months a year ago and 4.5 months this past month. Now, meanwhile, Glenwood condos have seen a 75% increase from a year ago, going from 4 deals to 7 deals this past month. That median sales price, however, has dipped 15.3%, going from 549,000 to 465,000. And days on market are up 15.4%, perhaps creating more of a buyer's opportunity in the Glenwood condo market. And months of remaining inventory also increasing. They're well below that 6 month threshold a year ago at 2.1 months, and now it's up to 5.2 months. That's actually 147.6% increase in supply. Okay, now we're going to cover Missouri Heights, and as most people know, there's not really any condo deals taking place there. So as far as home sales go in Missouri Heights, the sales were down 50%. There was only 2 deals a year ago and just one this past month. That median sales price dropped 42.6%. Obviously, those pendulum swings are big, significant with very little transactions taking place. A year ago, the median sales price in Missouri Heights was $3,090,035, and this past month was at $1,775,000. And the days on market that it took these homes to sell increased 66.7%. A year ago it was at 90 days, and this past month saw 150. So it's taking Missouri Heights homes a bit longer to sell. And then months of supply up 18.3%, going from 9.3 months to 11 months. So that's well beyond the 6 months of it being a buyer's market. So that's a recap on Missouri Heights. And next, we're going to dive into Old Snowmass. Once again, we're primarily going to be talking about single family homes in Old Snowmass. And there we saw sales up 150% from a year ago. There were only 2 deals a year ago and 5 this past month. Meanwhile, that median sales price is up 126%, going from 1,924,500 to 4,350,000 this past month. Days on market are significant. I won't sugarcoat that. It went from 218 days to 234 days. And months of supply actually dipped a little from 10.7 and 9.6 months. So that's Old Snowmass for you. And then next up, we're going to talk about Snowmass Village. Now in Snowmass Village, we saw sales up 33.3% on the homes, and that was going from 3 to 4. And then you're not going to believe it, but that median sales price in Snowmass is up 37.2%. A year ago it was at 7.9 million. This past month was at $10,840,000. Days on market are up just a little bit, going from 65 to 67. Months of supply, 5.5 to 6.2. In my opinion, this is a healthy market and a good balance between buyers and sellers, even though you now have a median price of north of $10 million. Now, as far as the townhomes and condos go, it's obviously going to be a lot more affordable in Snowmass. And there we saw sales dip a little bit, 12.5%, going from 8 deals to 7 deals. That median sales price is up 2.6%. A year ago was at 1,950,000, and this past month was at $2 million. Days on market relatively flat, going from 118 a year ago to 115. Months of supply increased slightly, going from 6.1 to 7.5 months. And now we're going to dive into our final neighborhood or category, which is basically Woody Creek. Now, Woody Creek is pretty significant in the sense that there's not always deals that take place because there's a limited supply. So a year ago, in August of 2024, there were no deals that took place. However, this past month we saw four, and that median sales price was at $11,375,000. And it took those on average 165 days to sell, but there's only 4 months of remaining inventory there. So inventory is tight in Woody Creek. Obviously, more people want to get into Woody Creek than they're looking to get out of Woody Creek. At some point, I'm going to do something fun talking about Woody Creek. John Oates played a cool little concert in town last night. He lives down there and a lot of other musicians. It's a very special place. Well, I hope you enjoyed my recap of all the home and condo sales from Aspen down in Glenwood Springs in August of 2025. That was my first attempt here covering the stats. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit different format than we're used to doing in Hawaii. Here, I've noticed the stats come out once a month and it covers everything, including that local market update all at once. So to find out more about real estate here in Aspen, and I still sell real estate in Hawaii, I can be reached at 808 371 3509. Aloha.